Okay, so today's workout is a very effective workout whether or not you are postpartum or not. If you're not postpartum, obviously use a heavier band. However, if you are, again, take it slow, connect your breath to the movement. So exhaling on the hard part of the movement, inhaling on the easier part. And if you need to add in the Kegel to the movements, you will need a mini loop and a strength band. We are progressing the workout, so focusing a bit more on strength and getting back to basic movements that we're going to use every day and not just rehab movements, but still incorporating those aspects into the movements to make our body kind of function as a whole.
All right, so starting off with squats with lateral walks, what you want to do here is make sure you are pressing out against that band using your glutes, okay? So you're not rolling your ankles, you're using your knees to drive out against the band. And you do want to keep a nice neutral back, so you don't want it rounded at the bottom, going as low as you feel comfortable going, and keeping the weight in your heels while you do this. So again, chest up, weight in the heels, and you're just taking nice side steps out to go back and forth. For your band rows, we are working in the bent over position, so a little bit of a progression from seated. If you find you can't stabilize your core and you're noticing this in your low back, do the seated version. It's a little bit less intense. You do want to make sure you're moving through the back of the shoulders. So you're not just doing a bicep curl, you're not just rowing it up with your biceps, you actually want to move your shoulders. Banded good morning, so that band should be around your neck. It shouldn't be uncomfortable, and you're working on the hip hinge pattern. So your knees do bend slightly, but then they stay bent, and you are pushing your hips back with a nice flat back. You should feel a stretch in your hamstrings. I will drop a link as to how to hip hinge to give you a better idea of kind of how to do this movement, really how to perfect it. So then we are coming into seated face pull. So we are seated, so very, very low impact. I want you to focus on sitting up nice and tall, but not flaring the rib cage as we pull that band back. More moving through the back and the shoulders, keeping your elbows up. So really, really focusing on connecting with your breath and trying not to flare that rib cage, which is easier said than done. And then we come into toe taps, which is a great exercise for those internal core muscles. It is a progression from pelvic tilts. If you need to regress it, put a foot back on the ground and just work one leg at a time. Make sure those ribs are not flared and you are working with your breath to pull that leg back up. So your low back should be pressed into the floor here and your ribs should be pointing down. Finishing off with single leg glute bridges. So again, working with your breaths, you're exhaling as you come up, inhaling as your bum goes to the floor. I want you to push up using your glutes, so squeezing your bum and only going as high as you can to still feel it in your glutes. You don't want to excessively arch your back to get your hips up higher. So you should feel this in your bum muscles as you push through the heel.